Hey guys, I'm the Depressed Engineer, and today I want to talk about the frustrations of working an engineering job. And actually, one of the things I want to talk about too is actually getting the job. But we'll start off with some of the things I wrote down. Just some things that maybe I've been frustrated with over the years. But anyways, so let's get right into it. So the first note I took down was engineering versus management, or money versus reason. This is something you'll see pretty much at any job I've been at, where the engineers tell the managers that they need a certain product, or they need to do something using a certain process. Or in my case, where I recommended a certain piece of software to my manager and he basically just ignored it. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Why did you hire me if I'm just going to sit here and spout ideas that you don't give a crap about? But a big part of that is sometimes it's just budget over any sort of reasoning whatsoever. So I worked at a place where we were supposed to be product support engineers, but it really just ended up being more like just maintenance and troubleshooting. So there we troubleshot, I guess is the term. I don't know. Troubleshat. I don't know. In any case, we did a lot of troubleshooting on circuit cards. And there were a lot of times where I found an issue with the design, where it's usually something dumb. So there's a resistor in a certain spot and it's like, okay, this is the wrong resistance value. We need to take another look at this. And I would make control charts with a upper and lower limit. And I would have charts though with like almost 10 years of data saying, hey, we've been writing the lower limit because somebody based this off a preliminary data sheet. So we need to add a different resistor because it was basically just an RC circuit. So it was just in an RC circuit, not remote control, but like resistance capacitance. It's a timing circuit. But so all we had to do was increase the resistance and it would have fixed the problem instantly. And sometimes you'd find issues like that and they would just say, well, no, let's put that off. Well, we don't want to spend the money or the time on this and the resources. And it's like, you're already spending money and time and resources. You have the product test engineer sitting there replacing the wrong, like parts that aren't even the problem. And he's literally replacing parts just because he wants that 5% variance in some of the resistors or capacitors or even the IC itself. But in any case, so there are a lot of times you're going to run into issues where engineering and management will just kind of duke it out with each other. And usually what happens is whoever's in charge just says, well, we want to save money, so we won't do this. And it's like, okay, well, cool. I guess we're just going to keep losing money in other departments. And sometimes it's actually illegitimate. Like sometimes you lose money, but you actually plan it out and you will lose more money in the long run fixing the problem. I don't have a good example of that, but there are some cases where they can just take the loss and they're like, it's not whatever. Which I find very strange. If you're focused on money, then shouldn't you be saving every penny? But I don't know. That's just me, I guess. Who knows? All right, so the next point I want to get to is school versus reality. For any of you out there who are majoring in engineering, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sure you've seen my other post about how the job market out there is really... They always tell you it's great for engineers, but it really isn't. It's honestly not much different than other careers. You're almost better off just taking like a web development course that'll take like 2 months or maybe even a software boot camp. And they'll teach you in just like a few months. And it's kind of expensive, but it's way cheaper than college. And companies will hire you if you take those courses. I haven't done it myself, so I don't have anecdotal for this, but anecdotal evidence for that. But I've heard good things about companies who do that. But I mean, that part of that could also be survivorship bias. If you don't know what survivorship bias is, I can do another video on that, but there's other people who've talked about it. It's basically when you focus on people who have survived certain things and you don't focus on the people who haven't. So a good example of that is like the lottery. People who win the lottery are like, well, man, if I can do it, anybody can. It's like, no, it's statistics. Like, it just happens sometimes to some people. So that's the survivorship bias, is when you focus on the successes and not the failures. And the part of that is you need to realize that you're going to make a lot of mistakes. You're going to experience a lot of failures, and you really just need to learn from it. Because that, I was always labeled as, or I labeled myself as a perfectionist. And this doesn't even do anything with school versus reality, but I used to be a perfectionist and everything. And I finally realized I needed to forgive myself and to just learn from my mistakes. And honestly, making mistakes was kind of like the biggest way, or the easiest way for me to learn things. And I mean, obviously you want to probably learn more from other people's mistakes, not your own, but you know, life happens. So school versus reality. So in school, all you guys are probably, well, people who are in school, studying calculus, doing a lot of math. Probably for me, it was like electric circuits and electromagnetism 1 and 2, digital logic circuits. And then obviously for like mechanical engineering, you've got all your, I don't even know, fluid dynamics, and I think that's a chem course too. Chemical engineering's got some similar stuff to mechanical engineering. Mechanicals will have, I know you have intro to electric. I only know the electrical engineering side. I'm sorry, but a lot of it just boils down to analysis, plugging into equations, getting an answer. Most likely programming using SolidWorks, maybe even CAD. I didn't even use CAD in college. They never even bothered to teach us that. There was a PLC course on programming PLCs, but it was an elective, so you didn't have to take that. And part of me kind of wishes I would have, because PLCs are pretty universal throughout different companies, especially industrial. But anyways, so you're studying all these courses, spending all this time studying and everything. And when you go out into the real world, it's most likely not going to be anything like that. In my experience, I use spreadsheets for a bunch of stuff. I've been at companies where I've used PSpice, maybe Altium Design, and you can teach yourself stuff like that on YouTube, or you just take lessons or whatever. And I've used a little bit of Python for some object-oriented stuff, but 80% of my work is done in like spreadsheets. And like, as long as you know how to read schematics, you can do that. You know how to copy and paste things, that'll get you really far in life. Sadly enough, you can tie that back to engineering versus management, where it's like, I've seen places where it doesn't even matter how technical you are, your career will plateau at a certain point. But if you like schmooze your way, I hate saying schmooze, but if you schmooze your way into management, you're gonna definitely get to 6 figures at some point in management, and if you don't just get it right away. Whereas engineering kind of like caps off it. Like, I've seen senior principal engineers and they make 6 figure, like right at 100,000, and managers will make like 120,000. Like, it's just the way the world is. I'm sorry. Like, I have a coworker right now, and all he wants to do is learn more and more technical stuff about the product we're working on. And I'm like, dude, you're gonna learn a little bit about the technical side, and then it's gonna be, even right now, he's learned a lot about like a specific circuit that he's been working on. And then the company just shifted positions and roles for everybody. So now he's doing a completely different thing that's not even remotely related to what he was doing, which actually ties into another point I'm going to get into. But the thing you really need to realize, there will be a small amount of you, maybe like 20 to 30% of you will get a job where you work in a lab, you actually do some sort of analysis, you test different things, you write the results down, you write up a lab report, and it'll actually kind of be similar to what you did in school. But the vast majority of engineers, you're going to be probably writing up Visio drawings and plugging things into a macro, and then the macro just spits out the answer for you, and then you just get to sit there for like 5 hours going, well, I'm already finished with all my work. What do I do now? In fact, I got assigned a task today for like the first time in a week. I was like, oh, I finally get something to do. What is it? It's literally, hey, we need to find where this diode is used. So go into the program that we have that has a where used function, put in the part number, and it spits out where that part is used. And unfortunately, it's really crappy, whoever developed it. So I had to actually go in there and like export everything into Excel, and then like Control F to find where the part was used and manually go through all of it. And I probably could have written a Python script for it to just do it for me, but I don't know how many times I'm going to be doing this. I mean, if it was my job to do it every day, hell yeah, I'd write a program that just did it for me and I'd be done. But at the same time, I've always learned that if you do work too quickly, you're going to be there with no work to do. So I hate working on a task for way longer than it needs to be, because I love I've said this in another video, I get things done fast, move on to the next task, move on to the next task, move on to the next project. And honestly, the best thing I've experienced is slowing down. Double check, triple check your work, take as much time as you need. Because as I said, you get done too quickly and you're just gonna be sitting there doing nothing. But yeah, so honestly, getting a real engineering job is not... Because I actually thought the stuff we learned in school was pretty cool. I know some of the stuff's really boring. It's like, what the hell am I even learning this for? But like working in a lab building circuits, that was pretty awesome. Chances are you're not going to be doing that, at least with a bachelor's, especially with a bachelor's degree. With a master's degree, you might have a better shot of making prototype circuits and everything. But... again, I've worked with people with master's degrees and they do exactly the same thing that I do. So just mentally prepare yourselves. If this is really the route you want to go down, just prepare yourselves for just a little bit of disappointment. Okay, just a little touch of disappointment, a little touch of sadness, sprinkle on a little bit of where is my life headed and what am I going to do for the rest of my life until I retire. It just makes a delicious, depressing dish. I am the depressed engineer, after all. Anyways, so my next point is rejecting ideas. This kind of goes back to engineering versus management, where you say, oh, like I mentioned, hey, there is literally like, I don't know, hundreds, probably less than that, honestly, but there's a ton of different task management software out there. And my program manager said, oh yeah, we'll look into it, and then never looked into it ever. And it was really a cheap solution to just making people fill out spreadsheets and wasting more time. And I think that's part of the reason we probably stuck with spreadsheets, is because it spread the task out more and it made it longer. Because then if they did their little check, we did this task, check, we did that task too quickly, then they're gonna be like, there's nothing else to check mark. What do we do, guys? What do we do? So a lot of ideas that engineers have, it's like, you try to be creative, you try to come up with a solution that'll make everything way easier and will probably most likely save the company money up or in the long run. And the problem that happens is the upfront costs cause managers and people, like, you really have to make a case for something in order to get it through management, because they just love shutting down ideas from engineering. Because sometimes engineers come up with crazy ideas and they're like, I don't know if we really want to risk that just for saving $100 a month or something. But a lot of times your ideas are probably just going to get shut down. And that's not to discourage you from coming up with ideas, but rejection is something you're really going to have to get used to. I know that I've experienced a lot of rejection in my love life. Oh God. I mean, in my career. And what was I talking about? But yeah, rejection is definitely an idea you're gonna have to get used to. Like, just shrug it off and move on to the next thing. Don't mope about it. Don't, get stuck on a rejection of something for too long. it'll just slow you down in the long run. So if you get rejected, just go, okay, whatever, and learn from your mistakes and see if you could try to do something better or convince someone in a different way to get your ideas through. Changing positions and roles. This is common at especially defense contracting, where management will just come up with the idea to, well, we need to follow this we need 6 Sigma, or we need 5S, or 13 ABC and 6S. And wait, I said 6S. But there's like all these weird management, like quality processes. Like the stand-up meetings are kind of a quality process. There's an official term for those. I mean, other than we call them scrum meetings, like a rugby scrum, but they are supposed to help follow a more lean process. And unfortunately, when stuff like that happens, people have to kind of change positions, and people start becoming management under like certain departments. So the problem is you have to be really adaptable. Like I said, that one coworker, he spent a year learning how to do like circuit analysis for a circuit thing. And he ended up getting transferred to another department, and now he's doing something totally different and like not even remotely related to electrical engineering. It's just like reading schematics and plugging things in. And it's like, okay, this wire goes into this cable pin, and then this wire goes onto that circuit board, and then I plug it in and turn it on, and then I use a digital multimeter to go, okay, it's 5 volts, and I go back to my desk and put it in a spreadsheet. It's like, okay, cool, absolutely nothing to do with what I was doing before. So just be ready to keep your mind open and try to stay up on engineering trends. That is probably one of the hardest things to do at a job, because especially in defense contracting, which I'll make another video on, you're probably going to be working with a lot of World War II technology, and you're not going to be working on anything innovative or new at all. Periods of nothing. This is, again, like I was kind of just transitioning into, is you're going to have days and weeks where everything has to get done, and you're probably going to have to do overtime, and it has to be done by like yesterday. But then you're going to have weeks on weeks where it's just a lull of absolutely nothing. And I've talked about this in my other video too, where it's just like you get work done too quickly, and then you just got nothing to do, and you go up to your boss and you say, hey, I need more work. And he says, okay, well, I'll come up with something. Just give me some time. And then he never talks to you again. You got to go, okay, great. And it almost gets to the point where you start begging for work, and you have to like go to your other coworkers and say, could you give me some of your work? And then they go, no, you're not experienced enough, and I've already been working on this task for a year, so I can't just hand it off to a newbie. And you're like, God damn it, just give me work. Anyways, so get used to staring at a wall, whether it's a cubicle wall or an office wall. And then I want to end this video with finding a job. Now, I'm probably going to make a video on how I got my very first job. The very first one I had after internships. Internships, I actually had a hard time getting internships too, though. For internships, I would really recommend, if you have the ability to like work in another state. Because this is another point somebody brought up to me when I posted my other video, was that a lot of colleges have graduates who graduate, and then there's like almost no companies near that college. I mean, I graduated from Toledo, Ohio, and a lot of the engineering companies out there are either consultant, like, you know, building buildings or just drawing up drawings for like sewers, which is, so much fun. And then there's industrial, which is a lot of like PLC stuff and just kind of, I don't even know what they do. I just remember I looked into it and it was super boring, like power systems and PLCs. I was just kind of like, well, that's kind of lame. So if you want to get an exciting job, a lot of the jobs in California are pretty good, but they're super competitive in California. So good luck with that one. Arizona's got some engineering going on with Intel's out here. And there's some defense contracting companies, obviously. But yeah, I'm gonna probably make a video on that one for how I got my first big boy job. But in general, and again, this ties to the last video I made where I said engineers, they always say that engineers are high in demand. They're not. Like, you know what they're actually looking for? They're looking for engineers who want to become managers. Because what they really want is an engineer with really good communication skills who can translate for them. So if you can look at a really complicated circuit and your engineering team is saying, hey, we need to increase the, I don't know, we got to increase the upper limit of our high, I don't even, it's been so long since I've done actual engineering, I'm actually too stupid to even remember how to do engineering. So it's like, you know, we're changing a parameter. We're changing a parameter on a circuit and it's going to affect this circuit this way. And we've done, you know, Laplace transform to spit out some results. I don't know. And what you have to do is translate that to the manager to say, okay, the triangle on this diagram needs to have this number so that these numbers actually make more sense and create an efficiency of this number. And that way the manager can go, oh, okay, that actually makes sense to me, instead of being like, well, according to Laplace transform, if you take the integral from x squared times zy 2b blobble doggle, and that's all management's going to hear if you talk like that. They're going to hear, oh, blah, 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 you know, like Charlie Brown style, blah, 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 doogle boggle and the schmeegle weagle. And you're like, I don't know what a schmeegle weagle is. You're the engineer. You learned what a schmeegle weagle is. What's a schmeegle weagle? And then you gotta sit there for another 20 minutes and go, well, a schmeegle weagle is when the spiraling 20 gauge wire ends up burning up because your electromagnetic waves cause a resonance frequency to schmeegle boggle, and then you go back into more schmeegle bobble. So don't schmeegle bobble your manager, that's bad. But what I'm trying to say is they really just want technical people who can translate things for them and speak well. That's why I really recommend working on public speaking, like Toastmasters or something like that. I've never done Toastmasters, but I'm actually planning on going to a meeting tomorrow for Toastmasters, so I'll maybe let you guys know how that goes. But yeah, Toastmasters is like it's a club that helps people speak in front of people in public. I can't speak. That's clearly why I need the class. I'm having a hard time here, and I'm sure you guys notice I speak out the side of my mouth sometimes. I've been trying to get better about that. But as I said in another video, I'm deaf in my left ear, so it's very natural for my lips to kind of part that way because I can hear myself better that way. And I like never even noticed it before until I started recording myself, and I'm like, why do I speak out the side of my mouth? That's weird. So Toastmasters is usually a good way to go about that. I also had somebody talk about my video was too long. It was 28 minutes long. Like, come on, dude, really? Well, whatever. Everybody wants either short or long videos. I've seen it on both sides. Some people really like long videos and some people really like short videos. If you really like short videos and my videos are too long, play the video at like 1.5 speed or even 2 times speed, because I know sometimes I speak kind of slowly and I pause a lot. So do that or watch it in parts, I guess. I'm not sure. Do something that works for you. I'll try to keep them at least under half an hour, but I realize that sometimes I go on talking. So in any case, I think that just about does it for my engineering frustrations. I hope you guys liked it. You can either smash or lightly click that like button. Just a little touch on that. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, just touch that like button, you know? Don't touch it through the monitor. What are you doing, Tim? God damn it. Use the cursor, click on it, come on. But anyways, I'm planning on making a lot more of these vlogs. I know this channel kind of started off as a gaming channel, but this gaming channel market's already super saturated, kind of like engineering's kind of super saturated. So I'm gonna kind of just stick with vlogging, blagging, schmurgle. Don't schmoogle doogle the manager. What did I even say before? I don't know. But anyways, feel free to subscribe if you want to see more of these videos. Or feel free to just never watch my videos ever again because you hate me and you hate everything I've talked about and what I stand for. You know, you're allowed to have an opinion, so good on you. Anyways, hopefully I'll see you guys later. Bye. 1, 2, 3, 4. That should be good enough. Oh my god, I didn't even start the recording. I'm an engineer. Alright, starting recording now. Alright, now we can do this. Maybe that's part of it. But in general... oh god, my nose itches. Oh, there we go. That's the good stuff. Alright, cut that out, please. Cut that out, future me. Anyways, so... Well, that was just an unmitigated disaster.